We'll start from the landing screen here. We'll go to the top left corner, that 4 square box, and we can find Product Manager in there, or you can search it, and it'll come up to the top. Once that screen loads, we'll see a list of products in here. To add a product to this list, we'll go to that top right corner, Add Product mark. Find what you want to do. So say we're going to do a chemical in here, and this is going to be, say, a herbicide. From there, you can search whatever your chemical name is. Say we're going to do prefix, check mark the box next to it, adds it to the left-hand side. If you wanted to add more, you can click on 2 or 3, add them all at the same time. And if you search for something and you don't find it, you can always click this plus mark button down here, and it'll bring in this next screen we're going to show, but just blank. So we'll prefix, hit next, and it pre-populates the information that John Deere has loaded in there. If you know the registration number is different, you can change it. If you know the manufacturer of the one you're using, you can change it at that point too. You need to select what form it is in. Prefix would be, for this example, say liquid. And if it's carrier, not carriers like water, or if you're using fertilizer like 32% as a carrier, you can check mark that box, but this one's just going to be a not carrier. So hit save there, and it adds it into this list here. If this list gets kind of long here, we can search up in the top left corner of prefix, and look, it sorts it right down there to it. If you only wanted to see like herbicides in this list, you can click herbicides, and it'll sort those out too. And if you have them denoted for what crop type, you can do that there too. The way that these come in here is either you can add them a product, or you can have it set up to import from the display. So if you wanted to change that, so say you have them make a product in a display, and you wanted to import into Operations Center when you loaded the setup file, you'd hit Preferences. Right now it's set to never import, and you can edit and change that to always import. So anything that you make in the displays and import that setup file into Operations Center, it will then add them into your product list here. The next thing that you can do is say there's something in here you don't want. Say there's a variety that you no longer use. You can hit the check mark box there and hit archive, and that gets rid of it off of your active list, available list. You can then, if you archive something you didn't want, you can always go back in there and make it available again into your available list. When you're making a setup file for a 2630, you have to make sure that you have a crop type available in that setup file for every crop that you want to plant. So say that you farm corn, wheat, and soybeans. If you're 2630, if you're going to use a 2630 for any operation on your farm that you want to add one of those operations in there to document them, you got to make sure that you have the crop type of a variety loaded in there of corn, wheat, and soybeans. If you do not, and you get into, say, plant, and you don't have a corn variety loaded in that setup file, you will not be able to add a variety in at that time. Gen 4 screens are quite a bit more forgiving, and you don't have to do that, but the 2630s are very particular about it. The next thing I'll show you how to do is create a tank mix. So say we're going to use a tank mix with Liberty, Prefix, Roundup, and say Defoamer. And we'll just check mark all those, hit Generate Tank Mix. We're going to put it on at 15 gallons an acre. Liberty, say we're going to do 1, and you can change the unit here, and we're going to put on 1 quart. Prefix, we'll put on 40, and we're going to do fluid ounces. You got to watch out here. If you had a product in here that was a dry product, this is fluid ounces, so this is a volume measurement, like 128 fluid ounces in a gallon. If it was a dry product, it would be like, it would just say OZ, not FLOZ, and that would be a weight measurement, so it'd be like 16 ounces per pound. So just watch out for that when you are converting those back and forth. Roundup, we'll say we'll put 2 pints on, and the foamer will put on 1 ounce per ounce again. It will then spit out how much of that 15 gallons an acre is going to be your water. And then you have a calculator down below, and we'll get to that here in a second. So we'll hit next screen. You'll name it something. Hit save. And you can, at the bottom there, you could have changed what crop type it was for. Then you can go to the top left corner, go to tank mixes, and see that tank mix that we just made. So say there's one in there, you can archive them again, just like we did before. If you want to use the calculator, you'll check that tank mix, hit calculator. And so say we have a 1,000-gallon tank. We're going to work, say, 255 acres. It'll then spit out down below here what each tank mix is going to have in it. And you can convert these units here. So say we got 66 quarts of Liberty. Well, if we change that to gallons, that's a little bit easier to think about. Same way with prefix and all of them. And then this is the total amount you need. If you click this split this last tank mix out, this shows that tank mixes 1 through 3 are going to be full loads. But this last tank mix is only going to have 800 gallons in it, and it shows you how much of that you'll need for that partial tank mix. You can print this out, so you can convert all of these to gallons, and then print this out and give that to the tender truck driver, and then he will be able to have that and know how much chemical and how much water he needs to take out of that field.